Greetings and time for another video log. Well, just thought I'd mention, just a few things. First thing is that it's hot weather today. It's about 28 degrees and it could be up to 30. And what I found funny about it was, I go to Australia a lot, and in the summer, even in the autumn and spring, it gets hot all year round up in the north of Australia in the 30s, 40s. Whereas here, it's like gets into the high 20s and it's actually on the news. It was like a news item on the news at 10, and they were saying, we advise everyone to stay indoors, don't go outside, just because it's just a fairly warm day. Anyway, I thought that was... Now, another thing I wanted to say was nothing topical, but just funeral cliches. When you go to a funeral, and it's just so many cliches. They always say things like, oh, he was such a vital person. Oh, he loved life. And they always say, oh, it was such an unusual funeral. It wasn't more like it was a joyful occasion. It was a celebration of a life. It was what he would have wanted. It was so much. He'd have loved to have been there. Oh, so many cliches. When I die, if I die, of course, I've no proof that I will die. It's possible that I'm the first person ever to be immortal. But if I do die, I just want normal service, everyone a bit miserable, couple of meaningless poems, and then everyone go home. Now, also, on the subject of death, I wanted to say, well, I've always loved murder mysteries, but, well, I've just suddenly become bored of them. Because I've seen it all before. Like, it's always the same thing, isn't it? There's always, like, the senior police, chief superintendent or something, always says, get off the, I'm taking you off the case, like to the hero detective. I'm taking you off the case. You went in there without a warrant. You've got to do things by the book. And the other one always says, yeah, I might not do things by the book, but I know how to get results. And then the other one says, you've got to tick the right boxes. I'm having a meeting with the chief constable later. I don't want any more of this. And then it's always, I told you specifically not to speak to that important businessman / an important politician. I told you, these are important people. Don't ruffle their feathers. And then the other one says, yeah, but I've reason to believe they may be involved. Of course, it never is. Sometimes they are involved, but it nearly always is. The person who's involved, who does the murder, is always the quite famous actress who's like famous enough that you recognise her, but appears in an earlier bit, but only briefly, like she's something like the sister of one of the main characters, and she's sort of briefly in there, and you sort of think, well, she's quite famous. They wouldn't have got her in just to do that scene as the sister. She obviously is guilty, and she always is. And then she does a big scene where she cries and everything and says, I never knew my true father, that's why I decided to lance 17 people to death, or whatever it was. And all very, very good acting. But I'm just fed up with the plots. And I think that was all I was going to say, other than to say, just interesting really, that due to my career, well, twice in my career, I've been asked to go up very high mountains. On both occasions I haven't been able to, due to playing in theatres. The first time was about 5 years ago. It was a TV show, and I think they wanted me to possibly go up Mount Kilimanjaro, which might be K2. I don't know whether that's the same. I've never really taken an interest in whether K2 is the same as Mount Kilimanjaro. But anyway, in the same way, I've never really taken an interest in whether or not Manchester United is better than Manchester City. I don't really mind. Anyway, they wanted me to go up it for a TV programme, but I couldn't because I was doing a show at Soho Theatre in London. And I sort of thought, oh, that's a shame, not going up the Mount Kilimanjaro. But then I thought, well, is still my dream, to be a comedian and to be on stage performing. So then I thought. And then the second time was... not long ago, I met a man. It was a charity thing, and it's happening this autumn, UK autumn, for those of you watching from the Southern Hemisphere. And it's Anyway, it's up Mount Everest. Anyway, I thought, oh, that works. It was about the 4th of October, and I thought, I've just got back from Australia then, because I'm going to Australia in September for various things, and I thought, it's just before the tour, perfect. But then they said, oh, well, you know, it like takes 28 days, because it's not that. I thought it was just like a quick flight, you know, quickly take a limo or something up to the Mount Everest, thanks very much, and goodbye. But it's not. It's it's only on the base camp. It's not even at the top of Everest, but it takes ages to get there. Apparently, it's like a major thing. Anyway, I couldn't because I'm performing in Wrexham and other places on the tour. So the point I want to make is, it's my dream to be a comedian and to perform in front of the audiences of people who've come specially to see me. To be a touring comedian, that's my dream. So there's no resentment, but it is just a thought that instead of being in Wrexham, I could be up the Mount Everest. Anyway, that is the end of this video log.